The American Constitution, the supreme document, the rules the nation or any nation, says that a human being has certain rights that cannot be changed. Between them, among them, life, freedom, and the search for happiness. The only problem is the writers of the Constitution did not define the word happiness. And in the head of the American, as they also managed to sell the idea to everyone with the famous American dream, happiness is for you to conquer. Riches. People go to the United States until today, which became the greatest country in the world, in search of their happiness, that they understand to be the dollar, the money, the conquests, a house, their new car, their life materially in abundance. There are many immigrants that go there. They go to work, they subject themselves to a very hard type of work to be paid in dollar, and after to send these dollars to their nation of origin for them to be able to build their dreams. But what happens? The United States, which began with an evangelical faith, started with a group of people who ran away from the European persecution in search of freedom, of the dream on being free, no longer being under the feast of a king, a monarch. So there they began with the faith. The first harvest they had until today is the greatest holiday in the American calendar, which is the Thanksgiving that happens on every month of November. There they gave the first fruits. Their faith was so great that on the first harvest that they did on American land, they dedicated the harvest to God. Which means the founders of America were people who fear God. They believed in that. But along the years, centuries, people started to search for that happiness not in God, but in money. And dollar became their God, the financial conquest. Well, I'm not here bad-mouthing the Americans. I'm just here speaking about a fact that is true about every human being, regardless of their nationality, of every natural man, that the Bible calls the natural man. What is the natural man? The natural man is that person that lives without God, without the knowledge of God. So they search for their happiness in natural things. I remember that I was a natural man. And in my childhood, teenage years, as a natural person grows looking at what the world shows, and they think like this: that person is a happy person. Their house is great, their car is new, my parents don't have that much of a condition, but when I grow older, I'll fight to have it, because I will be happy. I will be able to have what I don't have, what my parents were not able to give me. So the natural person puts their strength in the material conquest, because they attribute happiness to financial achievements. And of course, financial achievements is something good, to have the best food, clothes, place to live. This is very good, but will not bring the happiness, as the rich people will confirm that. If money brought happiness, rich people would not kill themselves. Isn't it? So the natural people, they are in search of money, in search of relationship. They think, I want to have the person that I love. I want to have the person of my dreams. So they search for the ideal profile of a person that they want to get married with, that they want to relate themselves with. So they are in search of another person to make them happy. Is not that what they say out there? I got married to be happy, isn't it? I got married to be happy. I have the right to be happy. Don't they separate saying that? I have the right to be happy. I'm unhappy in my marriage, so I'm not going to stay in this marriage because I'm unhappy and I have the right to be happy. So the person separates to be in search of happiness with someone else. Isn't what they do? So this search for happiness that the natural person commits themselves to, in a nutshell, is the search of financial conquests, family, to have a career, to have their name everywhere. There are people who do any deal to have their names everywhere, even if it's just for 15 minutes of fame on internet, on social media, because they want to be known. The natural heart cries out to be known. Since the times of Nimrod, who famously proposed the building of the Tower of Babel to make a name to himself, people are in search on something. They'll put their names on a bridge, on an open square, public square, on the rankings of internet, on the trendings on internet, on hashtags. Isn't that? Very well. But this is not the happiness. The man who had this the most, the man who had this the most in the world, in life, in history, you know him, you know who was Solomon. Do you know why God gave to Solomon riches like never anyone had before him and never had after, will never have? Do you know why God allowed him to have 1,000 women? Do you know why God let the gold in the times of Solomon to become as common as stones? Do you know why? To leave it registered. The happiness is not in those things, because this was the man who had the most of all these that people were in search. He said, my soul denied me nothing. All that my heart desired, I gave it to him. So Solomon had conditions. He had it. But what he concluded at the end of all? Almost 30 times in one of the books that he wrote, in the book of Ecclesiastes, he said vanity, vanity, and vanity. He said like this in one of his verses, therefore I hated life, because the work that was done under the sun was distressing to me. For all is vanity and grasping for the wind. Which meant he had it all and hated his own life. He hated it. He did not like it. He did not feel accomplished on all that he achieved. And he ended up keeping himself away from God. Well, do you want happiness? You are in search of happiness. Every human is in search of happiness. But unfortunately, nobody told them that where is it and what this happiness is. Happiness is in your Creator, in He who created you, who formed you. When you find your Creator, then you find happiness because you find your purpose in life. And your purpose in life is not to go out there in search of money, women, men, fame. No, because these things are fleeting, are foolish. They are vanity of vanities. All is vanity. It's true. These things are useless and futile. But when you have an encounter with God, you're no longer natural, woman or man. You become a spiritual being, supernatural being. The spiritual person has the eyes of God. They look at themselves, they look at the world, people, to things with the eyes of God. They can have many wealth, many riches, but none of that corrupts them. They will have one relationship and they will know how to build this relationship, to make out of this relationship something that will contribute in the life for the other person. They will not enter this relationship for them to be happy, because they're already happy before the relationship with the relationship that they have with God. So they will join this relationship to make the other person even more happy. So those who have an encounter with God, their natural state is of happiness. They can be in a precarious, limited physical situation, or a wealthy state. They can be well accompanied or badly, but they are happy because of the source of their happiness that comes from God. Well, you only find it if you search for it. The search for happiness is what every human being does, but the secret is in here. God said, "And you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart." So if you want to find happiness, search for the true happiness. Put all your efforts on where it really is and not on what is vain.
Did you like this? Would you like to hear it again? Listen to it as many times as you need until this content becomes part of you. Don't forget to leave your like, comment, and share. See you next time.